On this video, we're going to work the practice questions related to rates and proportions. And so let's begin by looking at this first question. If Jill can paint 6 dressers in 3 days, how many can she paint in 4 days? So we can set this up using rates and using a proportion actually. So we know that she can do 6 dressers in 3 days. And we want to know how many she can paint, that's our unknown variable x, in 4 days. She's painting at the same rate. So basically we can cross multiply and we get 3x equals 24, and we're solving for x, so we'll divide through by 3 and we get x is equal to 8. So that is answer choice C, 8. Question number 2. If 2 cars traveling towards one another are 100 miles apart and car A is traveling at 55 miles per hour while car B is traveling at 60 miles per hour, which time is closest to when they meet if it is 2 o'clock p.m. now? So we have a distance between A and B. Here's A and then B. We have their total distance between them is 100 miles. 55 miles per hour for A, and B is traveling at 60 miles per hour, and they begin at 2 o'clock p.m. So we're wanting to know what time is closest when they meet. When A heads in this direction, B's going to head in this direction, and they're going to meet at a certain time. So what we can do is we can look at using these rates. The total miles that both A and B travel together equal 100. Whatever that may be. So we know at 55 miles an hour at some amount of time x plus 60 miles an hour at some amount of time x equals 100 miles. Now that we multiply miles per hour times hours, we're left in miles. So this is mileage. So now we have a total of 115x equals 100. And so we solve for x by dividing 100 by 115. So we get 100 out of 115. And let's keep this as a fraction. We can simplify it. 5 will go into both of these numbers, and we can reduce this down to 20 over 23. This is our amount of time. But we need to know what the time is in minutes so that we can put it as one of our answer choices on a clock. So if we take 20 out of 23, this fraction, times 60 minutes, and I do that because 60 minutes in 1 hour. When we put that in our calculator, that comes out to about 52.2 minutes approximately. Well, we're looking at about which time is the closest. This is 52.2 minutes past 2 o'clock. So that's going to be answer choice F, 2:52 p.m. These 2 cars should meet together. Now, if we look at question number 3, it says use the data from the previous question. Which number of miles is closest to how far car A traveled from 2 o'clock p.m. until the 2 cars met? So when we're given that car A travels at 55 miles per hour, we want to know, we know that they traveled over here 20 over 23 hours. That was the amount of time in hours. So we can use that, and that way our hours cancel out. So we'll take the 55, multiply that by 20, divide by 23, and I get approximately 47.8. And I think with some of the rounding using these different, the 20 over 23 or the 52 minutes, that gives us the little variation in our time. We're closest to D, 47.4. Let's take a look at question number 4 now. If an 8-ounce can of vegetables cost $1.25, how much would you expect a 21-ounce can of vegetables to cost at the same rate? So we're looking at the same rate. It's a proportion here. We know we can get 8 ounces for $1.25. So we can set up a proportion here for 21 ounces at what price? So we'll cross multiply and get 8x equals 21 times 1.25, and we get 26.25. Now we want to solve for x. I'm going to do that right up here. So we'll divide through by 8, and we get $3.28, which is answer choice G. Okay, now let's take a look at question number 5. If a map shows 1/2 inch equals 5 miles, how far apart in miles is a length of 2.5 inches on the map? So again, this is going to be a proportion that we're going to set up. Both of these values for the map are in inches, so that's nice. We have 1/2 an inch is the same as 5 miles, and we want to know what 2.5 inches is equivalent to, so our unknown value of x. So let's cross multiply, and we get 1/2 x equals 5 times 2.5, which is 12.5. And we want to solve for x, so we're going to multiply through by 2, and we get 25. So 2.5 inches is equal to 25 miles on the map, and that is answer choice E. Okay, number 6, a recipe for 24 cookies calls for 1.5 cups of flour. When the ingredients in this recipe are increased proportionately, there's our word proportionately, how many cups of flour are required for the cookie recipe to yield 96 cookies? So we know that to get 24 cookies, we have to use 1 1/2 cups of flour. We want to be able to yield 96 cookies, so how many cups of flour do we need to use? That's our unknown. So we're going to cross multiply, and we get 24x equals 96 times 1.5, which equals 144. And again, we're solving for x, so we're going to divide through by 24, and we get 6. So that is answer choice K. We'll use 6 cups of flour to yield 96 cookies. Number 7, a cylinder is filled at a constant rate. If after 3 hours the volume filled is 201 cubic feet, what volume is filled after 5 hours? So you may at first think, I'm going to have to calculate some volume of a cylinder, but in this case we don't have to. It turns out to be using rates and proportions. We know that after 3 hours, the volume filled is 201 cubic feet. And we want to know after 5 hours what is going to be the volume. So x is our unknown, how much after 5 hours. So we'll cross multiply, and we get 3x equals 201 times 5, which equals 1005. We will divide through by 3 so that we can get the value of x, which is 335. That is answer choice C.